The Ninth Amendment. The enumeration in the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. Which was the biggest argument against a Bill of Rights. The argument against having a Bill of Rights was the belief that by listing the rights of the people, it would be assumed that only the rights of the people listed existed. The most famous case law in the US right now, based on the Ninth Amendment, is a case called Griswold v. Connecticut. Which is worryingly close to being overturned right now. It was on the Clarence Thomas list of cases which should be retried. It was a Connecticut law that prohibited any person from using, quote, any drug, medicinal article, or instrument for the purpose of preventing contraception. 7-2, the Supreme Court found that the right to privacy is a right granted or held by the Constitution or by the people under the Constitution. Estelle T. Griswold and C. Lee Buxton both sued for their right to privacy. They were I think they were arrested. Yeah, they were arrested, tried in a one-day bench trial, found guilty, and fined $100 each for operating a birth control clinic. It was the Planned Parenthood League of Connecticut. Less than 2 days later, police arrived, questioned them, and the two said, yes, we are giving people birth control. And they did it in order to strike down the law. Eisenstadt v. Baird, also 72, extended it to unmarried couples. You don't have to be married to you, because Griswold is purely married couples. It was determined that if married people could have contraception, then unmarried people could have contraception. Roe v. Wade was under the Ninth Amendment. Carey v. Population Services International was right to contraception for juveniles at least 14. Lawrence v. Texas is right to privacy in private sexual activity, struck down sodomy laws in the United States. Oberfell v. Hodges was a Ninth Amendment case. And then in Dobbs, they decided that maybe you don't have the right to privacy.
Has the Ninth Amendment ever applied in the Gillian court?
I mean, since they don't have a Bill of Rights, yeah. They've got a lot of rights that I've never really detailed for them. The right to decide for themselves how they do their housework, as long as the housework gets, I don't freaking care. The right to,
as long as they don't pay the other people to do it for them.
You know what? If they had the money to pay other people to do their housework, I don't care as long as it gets done. The right to bathroom breaks. That's not written down, but they definitely have it. But yeah, the big one here, the big Ninth Amendment issue right now is the right to privacy. Do I think that the Founding Fathers intended a right to privacy with the standard Founding Fathers caveat? I don't think it occurred to them. I don't think any of them necessarily thought about a right to privacy as being something that needed to be documented. But I do think a lot of the other amendments show a clear support of a right to privacy. The First Amendment, you know, your right to freedom of speech and religion and so forth, those are privacy. Unreasonable search and seizure. If you can't be searched without a reason, then that is a right to privacy. I think it is very clear that you can draw upon the other amendments to bring forth this right that would never have been phrased in those words in the 1790s. But something originalist.
Okay, to not be instructed to deny or to deny or disparage.
Yeah.
Other retrained by the people.
Yeah. You have other rights. And just because they're not spelled out in exhaustive language doesn't mean they don't exist.
One of those things that's just to the point.
Yeah. Yeah. And the two big things to talk about there are the reason it's in there is the fear, comes from the people who didn't want a Bill of Rights in the first place, and Griswold v. Connecticut and what came after and the threat of anything based on Griswold.